let me see. I'm getting some lifetime feedback, and that's the fun part about this is it is now working. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Okay. The thing that you may not have heard me say earlier is it's so fun to click that live button and just go because it's like pushing away off the top of the hill on a sled. You just don't know what's going to happen. It's like life. You don't know what the future holds. In this case, not pushing the power button on this headset, small setback. That's okay. And it's easy for me to skim through where we are right now. We're going to have this wonderful conversation on conquering regret, how to move from what ifs to what's next. And you'll see a forward looking theme to everything that we're talking about today. The outline for today is a small outline. First one is a introduction of myself, and then we're going to bring up something and look at an infographic or poster called the Regret Index. After that, we'll do a small explanation of each of the different levels within that index. We'll hit the negative of regret and enduring it overall. And then we're going to talk about the positives. We want to end on a bright note and talk about the positives of resolving or addressing regret. So the quick introduction is two parts. One is the fastest. Born in a small town, high school sports, college, adventure, married my high school sweetheart, corporate, some travel, two great kids, two fine young men as sons right now that I'm very proud of. The second part of the introduction that's mildly longer is what brings me to be here with you right now today. And that is that years ago, I had the opportunity, Lisa and I did, my wife, for us to make a change and shift and shape what we were doing as a young family. And we decided to make the family be the highest thing for us. And it was going to be always either equal to professional aspirations or higher than. And that worked out well for the family. And the part where it started to become this topic of conversation of possible regret is over the number of years, like what happens with people in the span of a career. I grew to be a little bit restless with my career. I will be forever grateful for my former employer and the people I worked with. But eventually I feel like it was something that was not checking all the boxes for me. And I lived with this fear of missing out. I always thought that I wasn't necessarily living up to my full potential, and I wanted to do something that was just a little bit more engaging. So that fear of missing out and always wondering what could I be doing, should I be doing, was always balanced against trying to put the needs of the family ahead of me. And I couldn't necessarily just stop, leave, start over in a different career, etc. And so I kind of grounded out. But that was always this constant negative little thing in the back of my head, a little bit of a drain. And as a result, I look back on those years with some regret. At the time, back then, my only exposure to a coach was that being somebody on the side of a football field or alongside a basketball court. I could have benefited from having a coach then. And the analogy that I think of is two planes flying across the sky on parallel paths. And if you make a shift in one of their flight paths by only 1 degree over time, the separation is massive. And so I look back and say, gosh, what would it have been like to shift or have some kind of change so many years ago? Maybe it would have been just a change to reinvigorate myself into my existing job and career. Or maybe it would have been an opportunity to explore other options and do something a little bit more gratifying. So eventually that leads me to, I got to a point where I did leave my former employer. I'm pursuing something that lights me up and gives me energy. And I think I found it, honestly. And so I've launched this, led me to creating a coaching business in which I help people avoid that regret, that type of specific regret or anything else that they're living with, so that they potentially in a collaborative effort so that we could create and design a future that lights you up and it fulfills all your intentions. So, okay, so that's my coaching story, and appreciate everybody lighting up my phone with the hey goofball, get the audio going correctly. That's all right. We'll see if we can edit that out in the post something. All right, so that was the introduction. Let's talk about this regret index. And so one super small point is that when we talk about regret, we're not talking about, gosh, I wish I would have ordered the chicken instead of the pasta yesterday. No, it's regret that doesn't have an expiration date on it. It's something that's going to hang with us and stay with us for a long time, and it's long-lasting impacts. So let me share my screen and show you this infographic of which I speak. This is it here. It is the regret index, a visual guide to regret. It's just this framework to help us assess the degree of regret that somebody might be currently experiencing in their life. And as it operates on a scale from 1 to 5, with each level representing an increasing amount of emotional intensity. And this can help anybody identify where they might be on their emotional journey with regret and possibly identify opportunities to avoid regret. At the end of the day, as you can understand, it's just a tool. It's no silver bullet. It's just a tool that allows us to initiate conversations and create the thing that is most important, is that awareness. So the other thing that I can tell you or share with you is that this infographic has an accompanying regret assessment. This is 15 different questions in a yes or no format that allows for you to have some deep inner reflection to understand where you might be in your current situation. Within the assessment itself, there's opportunities to record observations, thoughts, and ideas that you have in any of the 5 different sections. And then there's a summary page that tells you how to interpret the results. The questions are in a yes or no format. Let me read 2 sample questions as an example. Question number 2, there are moments when I question if I'm on the right path, but the feelings aren't overwhelming or persistent. Okay, that's pretty straightforward, but with just a tiny bit of being genuine and inner reflection, that might be something that's very meaningful for you to be able to start a conversation. Here is another one. Number 7. I'm just picking these by random. I frequently reflect on past decisions and feel disappointed by the outcomes, especially regarding my career or relationships. I want to make this available, this assessment, an electronic copy of it to you, as well as the infographic of which we'll look at now. So, okay, let me make sure I'm on track. We're there, and now we want to talk about the individual levels of this seed of regret. And let me go back. Funny, I did the up and down look with my eyes there because I wanted to make sure and understand what screen I was sharing. This is the one I want to share with you right now. If we talk about that first level, level 1, the seed of regret, this is when you first start to have that vague unease or dissatisfaction, but the regret is not yet entirely significant. It's kind of an inkling that something isn't quite aligned with your values. And this is a situation where there's maybe this low grumbling of something's not right, but it isn't yet a major concern. I have an example out of each of these levels. Let me read you this example and see if it resonates or clicks with you, or at least you can notice the relevancy to this level. Sarah feels some dissatisfaction with her career and wonders if she's on the right path. She is beginning to question whether her current work aligns with their true passions, the feelings of unease are starting to fester. Okay, in this situation, what are some things that Sarah can do? And obviously, an example. What could this person do to take action and resolve that low rumbling of something isn't right? First one that I can offer is acknowledge the seed of regret. Recognize and validate that is a feeling of unease, but don't catastrophize it. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Just reflect on what it's telling you. And that could just simply be a signal that a shift is needed. And it's the perfect time to take action before the regret grows. Um, Journaling about what feels off is a very good way of trying to find that source of unease, if you will. Another option here would be to reframe the situation. Rather than seeing this as, oh my goodness, here's this impending failure. No, reframe it as, well, this is a valuable alert. It's an early indicator of potential dissatisfaction if things don't change. And you can tell yourself, hey, this simply means there's room for improvement and I can proactively steer my life into a very fulfilling direction. The I'm going to give one more example on this in terms of how to potentially handle this low seed of regret. How about making just one small adjustment? Take action in a small way to address the source of unease. It could be as simple as initiating a conversation, making a minor change to your routine. It could be setting a personal goal for yourself, but early action will prevent that feeling from escalating and then allow you to take better or more control of it before it turns into a much bigger situation. So that is the level one seed of regret. I like the pace we're setting here. So this is good. We're going to go on to level two. And this has that title of unresolved stir, moderate regret. The possible example, how relevant it is, will depend on the individual, but might be wrong direction. This is where the unease has grown stronger, and you can sense that if things continue on their current trajectory, it could lead to regret. It hasn't yet hit a crisis point, but the stir is enough to question what will happen if you don't act soon. Consider this example. John is in a position within his company in which he's not comfortable with his role. Whether he's struggling with some portions of this role or getting by in others, overall, he knows in his heart that he's not the leader he wants to be. He's getting by, but he's starting to feel the emotional toll of not living up to his own hopes. Okay, a little bit more relevancy, or not so much relevancy, maybe immediacy than the first example. What can we do here? Here are some options. Identify the core concern. Clarify exactly what it is that you're uneasy about. Is it a relationship issue? Is it a career decision? An area of personal growth? If we can pinpoint the cause, if we can get really specific on it, now all of a sudden we can start to gain some clarity, which will help take us past that vague dissatisfaction and then into actionable steps. Option number two for addressing this particular level of regret. How about creating a what if scenario? Visualize what would happen if I just didn't do anything. Play that out a little bit and imagine how you're going to feel about it later if you just ignore it and don't do anything. This can help you weigh the benefits of taking action versus the cost of inaction, and the clarity that comes from this can then serve as a motivational tool or an item to fuel your motivation to make a change. Set one concrete, one small goal, and decide on one small tangible action that you can take that will shift things in the right direction. So for example, if it's a relationship issue, schedule a conversation with somebody and see if you can work that out. If it's a career decision, commit to investigating or networking in an area that you're considering. Small steps can dissipate the growing feeling of regret and then help move you towards a solution. All right, if we look at level three, I'm looking at, just had to glance up at my other screen. This is the regretful reflection, past decisions, paths not taken. Okay. Here is the definition or useful description of this level. This is when you look back with a sense of missed opportunity or dissatisfaction, and you realize, you know what, I made some decisions that did not serve me as well as I hoped. And now you're feeling frustrated or disappointed with yourself, or just simply disappointed with the results that come about. Here's this example. Bill realized that for the last 5 years, he had been chasing promotions in a job that didn't align with his true interests. The pursuit of success and money had kept him from focusing on his true passion in a different industry, possibly. And now he felt a sense of regret for not prioritizing what mattered most to him. He's often stuck in self-blame. Okay, what could we do with that? What could we do in that situation? Here's something that is probably new to many of us, it seems like. I don't want to speak for everybody, but how about acknowledging the past without judgment and self-criticism? So often we are our own worst critic. It's important to see that you made the best decisions that you could at the time with the information you had. Nobody sets out with a goal of saying, I'm going to make a crappy decision today, or I've got this thing, let me see how bad I can mess this up. Nobody does that. Dismiss and set aside the self-criticism and the judgment. And if you can move past that self-blame, and now you can start to focus on how to positively shape your future instead of staying stuck in regret. Reframe the regret as a growth opportunity. What has this regret taught me? What is the lesson I can learn from this that is going to inform my future choices? For example, if you are having regrets over strained or relationship, well, how can I invest in people more in the future to avoid this type of thing? Third area, an option, a potential step is to simply create a plan for action. So many words we're going to hear so often: action and forward. Take ownership of the situation by creating an action plan to correct or compensate for past mistakes as best you can. If your regret is about missed opportunities in the past, okay, what kind of new doors can I open going forward? Set clear and actionable plans with deadlines. Have the decision be a forward-looking focus, and leave the past where it belongs, and that would be in the past. Okay, that was level 3. Let me try and remain a little bit consistent, and we'll just drag it on down 4 and 5. Level 4, The weight of unmet expectations, feeling the consequences. So we're talking about deeper emotional burden of regret right here, often tied to unmet expectations, broken relationships, or significant choices that have led to profound dissatisfaction. The regret here feels heavier and more persistent, and you may wonder if the damage can be undone. This example is offered for your consideration. Maria had deep regret about ending a close friendship over a misunderstanding years ago. For years, she carried the weight of that decision, feeling she lost something irreplaceable. She finds at times that her emotions dictate her actions. What are some options here? Release the need for perfectionism. So many times, perfectionism holds us back from moving forward. Perfectionism can maybe have some implications as we look backward on regrets. You may feel regret about things that can never be undone, but perfection is an illusion. Acknowledge that things didn't work out as planned and accept this as part of life's ebb and flow. Let go of the fantasy that things could have been different and focus now on what's still possible for you moving forward. Second one, empower yourself through forgiveness. Forgive yourself for past decisions. What would it feel like to have a very thoughtful and genuine conversation with yourself and you said to the words, heartfelt, with everything you felt, to yourself, I forgive you. Just saying that now, it has a lightning experience or a sensation to it. Don't be your worst critic. Forgive yourself, and that forgiveness opens up an emotional space for healing. It allows you to move forward with more self-compassion and less weight from the past. I like that one. Third one in this level, take radical responsibility for the present. The key word here is the present. Shift your energy from dwelling on the past, bring it to present, and shift to the future. Take full responsibility for how you move forward. What can you do today to start making new choices that align with the person you want to be? This is about reclaiming your power and not letting the weight of past mistakes define your future. I'm reminded of a book I read. I think it was Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan wrote a book, 10X is easier than 2X. In it is introduced this concept of your future self. Decide what your future self is, envision it, idealize it, apply that to today, and let that future self pull you to that future self ahead of you. If I am envisioning myself as my future self, what does future self do today in terms of making decisions and driving a little bit more of putting their hand on the steering wheel a little bit more than saying, oh gosh, I want to get up there, but I don't know how. It's a concept idea that I don't know that I necessarily did it justice, but I think you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to be consistent and quickly scan everywhere to find the same position that the share button has been in, and then share level 5. This is not something I'm going through right now. As a result, it's easy to talk about, and we're going to zoom through it in the almost same pace that we did the others. But I recognize and kind of want to give a nod to anybody that is here. It's not a good place, and I wish you my best. Two things. First, that this level on the index requires the least amount of awareness by you because you are being weighed down by it very heavily and you know exactly that it's here. It's ever present for you. It requires the least amount of awareness, but probably the heaviest lifting in order to resolve and get past it. Juxtaposed against that is level 1, where it requires the most amount of awareness. You've got to be aware of what you're doing. You've got to have that awareness, a heightened self-awareness. But level 1 probably requires the least amount of lifting to help vanquish that low regret, that seed of regret. Level 5. I said 2 things. I wanted to talk about that juxtaposition of awareness and level of effort. And then now we can look at the actual comments and the definition of this. This is where the regret feels profound and irreversible, often involving major life decisions that have resulted in significant personal or professional consequences. And the emotional weight here is much heavier, and the individual may feel trapped in the past. Here's the example that we have for you today. David deeply regretted leaving his family's business to start his own venture. His new business failed, leaving him financially ruined and feeling like he had let down his family. He has never forgiven himself, and he has never come to terms with his past decisions. In this situation, what are some options here? I know that as we discuss these, they're just words on a piece of paper, but these would be incredibly difficult and hard and a challenge, I'm sure. Option 1, for exploration, radically accept what cannot be changed. Deep regret often involves feelings of irreversibility. Begin by accepting that you cannot undo past decisions. This doesn't mean that you condone them or you like them. It just simply means that you accept the reality that the past is unchangeable, and you no longer need to fight it. When I say you no longer need to fight it, I kind of did an exhale. It's like that's relieving. Acceptance is the first or one of the early steps in emotional healing. Process the emotion with purpose. That's our next option. Acknowledge the pain that you feel. This will likely involve some deep self-reflection or even professional counseling. In a situation like this, journaling or meditation or working with a therapist or coach to help you work through those intense feelings may be relevant. Processing the emotion fully allows you to release its grip on your present life. One of the things that I've always kind of entertained in talking about this processing of emotions is when that negative emotion comes up and it's just physically uncomfortable, sit there for a moment and be still and feel what it's doing to your body. My chest is tightening, my temperature is raising, my gut is doing this, I'm starting to feel warm on my back. Whatever it is, sit there for a moment and endure it as best you can and recognize it's not killing you. I know that might sound a little strange and it may feel like it's physically harming you, but if you can just sit there and endure it and withstand it, maybe there's an opportunity to let it wash through you. Maybe there's an opportunity for it to release its grip on you in your present life. It's a physical sensation that's can you handle it? Can you endure it? An area for exploration in any type of situation in which you're all of a sudden stressed, uncomfortable, etc. Can I endure this? Can I get through it? A next and last option for this addressing regret at this level: design your redemption plan. Redemption has a good feel to it. While you can't undo the past, you can still create a future that is aligned with your values and aspirations. Design a plan that reflects what you now know and what kind of person you want to become going forward. If your big regret is about opportunity, okay, maybe it's time to craft a new goal that is more meaningful to you now, one that helps you in your current situation and one that helps pull you forward and point you in the right direction instead of staying stuck in regret. Okay, that was good. We did good. Congratulations to you because you have made it through our entire regret index and all of the different levels that go with it. And we're going to take a few more minutes and talk about two things: the negative parts about not dealing with regret, and then the benefits of resolving or mitigating it. First, the negative. Here's the negative stuff that comes up when not addressing regret. In business and in life, regret is a silent cost that eats away at your ability to perform, to create, to lead, to lead with confidence. And when you're not dealing with your regret or this negative thing, this presence, you're paying a hidden tax, one that affects your decision making, it affects your relationships, and ultimately, I could argue your financial success. When you allow regret to linger unaddressed, you're operating at a reduced capacity. This might be one of the more notable sentences in the entire webinar. When you let regret linger unaddressed, you're operating at a reduced capacity. Think of the story I told of myself, in which I had this constant negative drain that started to manifest itself in other ways. This constant negative gap, this fear of missing out, whatever you want to call it, if it's there always in the periphery or in my subconscious, how capable was I of operating at full capacity? I would argue I wasn't. I could argue that an analogy would be, if I'm carrying around a medium-sized stone in my left hand from now until I resolve my regret. So let's say it's years, I'm just carrying around this freaking stone. I'm not going to live at full capacity with that. How am I going to go to the grocery store? Don't play this game of life at reduced capacity. That so stands out for me. So whether it's regret over opportunities, poor decisions, or unfulfilled potential, they keep you from performing at your best, and the opportunity cost is real. That's just a preamble to the negative things. There's an emotional and mental toll. The drain on your energy, your focus, and your clarity will increase stress, anxiety, and frustration. It can be a barrier to personal growth. Impact on relationships. Unresolved regret can result in tension in relationships with family, friends, and colleagues. I will confess to that. It's speaking very much off the cuff. The negative drain of my situation years ago did manifest itself where I'd be in these funks, in these small depressions, and you can bet that impacted the people around me. Missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. When left unaddressed, regret prevents you from making bold decisions and taking risks and keeping you from seizing new opportunities. Over time, that unaddressed regret becomes a deeper dissatisfaction until all of a sudden one day you realize it's too late to make a change. A fear of future regret can cause inaction, a cycle of inaction and regret, inaction and result, regret, inaction and result, regret. My goodness, I flubbed that a little bit. Last one, an emotional cost of inaction. Regret becomes an identity. The more you ignore it, the more it becomes embedded in your psyche. And now all of a sudden you're leading a life of what ifs instead of what's possible or what's next. We don't want to be that. We don't want to be that. Okay. And now for something completely positive. The benefits of avoiding or mitigating regret. Empowerment and freedom. Reclaim your power. Stop letting past decisions control your future. And you can experience emotional freedom by resolving regret. Clarity and confidence. Resolving regret equals clarity about what truly matters to you, and it boosts your confidence and your ability to make aligned decisions moving forward. And if you can feel more secure in your choices, knowing that you are making those choices consciously rather than guided by fear of regret, that's a good place to be. Restore joy and fulfillment. With a clear path, now you're more connected to your passion, you're more connected to your purpose, and I would argue the people that care about you and the people you care about. Mitigating regret enables you to embrace the present and the future with greater joy, knowing that you're living your life that is in alignment with your authentic self. Healing and growing from resolving or mitigating regret allows you to heal those emotional wounds, learn from past mistakes, and they can help you grow into the stronger, wiser, more resilient person that you can be. It also strengthens your relationship because there's this peace and commitment to living in the present. Enhanced relationships and opportunities, opportunity to engage more deeply in relationships, opportunities, you can seize them with enthusiasm. Now you're not being held back. So whenever you're able to resolve current regret, they no longer hold power over you. You are free to make better decisions, which creates better everything, better personal outcomes, better business outcomes. You have more confidence. And there's a return on investment from solving current regret. And I would argue maybe even a greater return on avoiding future regret. Future regret is often caused by inaction, operating within values and goals that aren't in alignment with yourself. That creates future regret. Having the clarity in these areas, you can move ahead with intentionality. And if you are moving ahead with intent and in alignment with your goals and your values, now everything is better. You're more effective as a leader. You're more productive. I'm going to go through these last 4 kind of comments, bullet points pretty quickly, but I think I could spend a paragraph on each of them. Increased clarity equals more opportunities. Improved leadership means improved team performance. Better decision-making, greater business success. Personal empowerment equals long-term growth. I don't know which of those is the most important. Probably the last one, the long-term growth. We covered a lot of ground, even including every level of the regret index. So thanks for going on this little discussion with me. 2 things that are the big takeaways here: awareness and the willingness to take action. Awareness, the willingness to explore. Awareness, and don't settle. If you want an electronic copy of this regret assessment in the infographic poster, contact me at wade@steadybetter.com or fill out the contact me page on my website, steadybetter.com, and I'll send those to you. And then lastly, if you're a person that is struggling with regret, your own level of regret, if any of this resonated with you, let's talk. I've likely lived maybe a sliver of what you're going through. And at a minimum, I know I've helped people deal with these types of issues. So 3 steps: call me and we'll set up a call. Step 2 is we'll set aside an hour and have a wonderful conversation. And step 3, we will come up with a plan to help you flourish. If I had the lyrics, I would reference something about letting your little light shine and not putting underneath a bushel. Hey, don't let regret hold you back. Don't let it be this constant negative drain. Love your future self enough to take action, and let's move towards full capacity. Together, we can creatively design your incredible future. You guys are the best. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.